Let's take a look at three important enhancements in Dynamics GP 2016. We'll look at the Power BI on the home page, at the budget import error handling, and also at purchase requisitions with project accounting. I want to show you how you can present your Power BI dashboards inside of Dynamics GP 2016. This is a new feature in GP 2016, and it's pretty easy to set up. Basically, what I'm going to do is set up a connection between my Power BI system and my Dynamics GP system for reporting. So it's easy to do. Let's go to the administration area page, and we'll go to the reporting tool setup. Now you've probably seen this screen before, but we'll go to the Power BI tab here. So there's really only two pieces of information that you'll need. You'll need the Power BI URL. This is a common one here. You can just use that one. And you'll need a client ID. And the next step then is to create that client ID that you can put into this screen. So one way to start is to click on this link here. So this is a Power BI support page, and it tells you the steps to go through to register an app. So what I'm going to do is go to this URL right here, dev.powerbi.com/apps. So I'm just going to copy and paste that. So if you're not already logged in with your Microsoft login, you'll have to log in. I'm already logged in. And I just put the app name here. You can name it whatever you want to. And then this is important. The app type is going to be native app. So when you do that, it makes things a little simpler. The next step is to select a redirect URL. And all I've done is I'll take the URL for the Office 365 login. It's right here on the support page. So I'm just going to copy and paste that in, and I'm going to select all these API options right here. So let's do that. And then the next thing I need to do is just hit register app. And then I'll just copy and paste this into my Dynamics GP system. Just paste in there and then hit OK. When I first do this, it's going to go and register with Power BI and then bring back the results. So if we go back to the home page, we can click on Customize this page. You can now see that this Power BI and this option here are lit up. If you click on the blue arrow here, you can then select from your available reports and pull them over to the selected reports, which then are available to be seen on your Dynamics GP 2016 homepage. So I'm going to drill down on this a little bit, and there's one restriction. You can't pull over a whole dashboard that you have in Power BI. You have to pull over individual elements of it. So for example, I have this dashboard here, and I've got this one element here. I could just select that and insert it. I might have multiple ones here. I can select multiple dashboards. So here's a dashboard on Power BI. I've got three different elements. I can select any of those elements and choose to have them available for my home page. So that's all I need to do. And then when I hit OK, it'll refresh the home page. And now we'll have those Power BI elements on my Dynamics GP 2016 home page. I want to show you some new functionality that Microsoft introduced in Dynamics GP 2016. And that is to put a process around importing budgets into GP so that you can detect duplicate account numbers and account numbers that don't exist. Before this, you imported the budget from Excel into GP. You really had no feedback on whether those amounts got in there. This new functionality will give you some insight into how that import went by identifying duplicate account numbers and also account numbers that don't exist in your GL. So let's take a look at an example and see what happens. This is a budget I just exported from GP. I'm going to make some changes so that error handling shows us what it will do. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate a line, and that's going to show how GP will react to duplicate account numbers. Let's do another line here. I'm also going to try to import an account number that does not exist in the system. So here I've got a duplicate account, and I've got an account that does not exist. So prior to GP 2016, what would happen is the duplicate accounts would just be updated for the new amounts, for the second amount that came in there, or the third, the fourth, whatever you had. And the account numbers that did not exist in the GL would just not be processed, and you'd get no notification. So let's take a look at this. Let's save this, and let's go back into GP. Let's import that budget. So now let's import the budget and see the results. Okay, import to that budget. And here's the worksheet we were just looking at. Let's import that. So here's the report I get showing me the exceptions. The first one is I have a duplicate account, and the second one is the account does not exist. This new functionality will give you some control over importing budgets into Dynamics GP and will save you some time in trying to track down errors. So try it out. I think you'll like it. I want to show you new functionality in Dynamics GP 2016 that allows you to include projects and cost categories in purchase requisitions. So let's go to the purchase requisition. This is the purchase requisition entry form. So here I'm going to enter information about my requisition, things I want to purchase for my projects, and then I'm going to submit it to workflow. So let's get started. Let's go enter a description, and I'm going to enter a ship to address. So now I can enter lines that I want to include on my requisition. I'm going to enter some inventory items, and I'm going to enter some general supplies. So the first thing I want to do is look up my project number. I'll select this one here. And within that, there's a number of cost categories. I'll take a look at the one I want. I'm going to purchase inventory items first. These are items that are going to come from my inventory, go into a project, but first I need to purchase them from a vendor. I'll look up the item number. I'm looking up numbers that have already been assigned to this particular project. I'll select this first one here, and then the quantity. I'm going to select the ship to site, and the vendor will fill in with the most recent vendor at the best price. So here, this is a Canadian vendor. I'm going to be paying this in Canadian dollars. You can see that it automatically sets that up for me. Let's enter another line. I'll hit next. Let's go to the same project. But this time, I'm going to purchase just regular supplies. These are items that are not in my item master file. Here I'm going to select another vendor. So on this requisition, I have two vendors from whom I'm going to be purchasing items. So that should do it. We can take a look at both lines by condensing this. See here, I've got two items to the same project. I've got two different cost categories. I've got two different vendors here with two different currencies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to submit this for approval through a workflow mechanism within Dynamics GP. I'll hit submit. There's three ways I can approve this requisition. Once it's in workflow, I can go back to the requisition and I can approve it there if I'm an approver. I can also go to my list of unapproved requisitions and approve them there, but I'm going to go to an email that was sent to me. Here's the email that was sent to me about this requisition through the workflow system. You can see here I've got information about that particular request. I've got some information about the project, and I've got detailed line items that were in the requisition. I've got those here. If it looks okay to me, now let's go back here and I'll hit approve. This is then going to connect back to the Dynamics GP system and show that the approver approved this particular requisition. Now let's go back to this requisition. We can see that the workflow for this requisition was completed. It was fully approved. We can look at the history of the workflow to see how it transpired. Here you can see the origination and the final approval. So now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and purchase this. So I'm going to go up back to my requisition, go to actions and then purchase. This will bring up a dialog box that's going to create purchase orders for me. You can see that they've already been selected, the vendors have been selected, and the currencies have been selected. It's ready to go. So I'm going to generate the purchase orders. This is a process report that shows that two POs have been generated, one each for each of the vendors on the requisition. So let's just take a look at those purchase orders. Here's one of the purchase orders. This is the US dollar purchase order. Let's go back one here. And we can see the Canadian dollar purchase order here. From here, I can just receive the purchase orders as I normally would do. So what you've seen is you've seen the new requisition functionality in Dynamics GP 2016 that allows you to specify a particular project and categories within that project to put together a requisition. I did a simple workflow to see the approval of that requisition, then turn that into purchase orders.